One of my absolute favorite missions in the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare was the AC-130 mission, where you controlled a gunship, protecting soldiers on the ground, and I had to have replayed that at least 100 times as a much younger person. So what if I told you there's a simulation game that is only about you being a gunship and blowing up enemies left, right, front, and center? Welcome to Drone Sector. Drone Sector is an upcoming war simulation indie game by developer Icosphere, currently in its early stages of playtesting, and a huge shout out to the dev for allowing me to get hands-on with the playtest build. Featuring a futuristic gunship you're in control of, you'll field various weapon loadouts in an effort to protect the men on the ground, who you control as well, to take different objectives. There is a good deal of strategy required in this game, and let's go over the 3 areas you need to consider based on the aforementioned sentence. But before we do, if you enjoy these types of videos, feel free to help boost it to the YouTube gods and the algorithm by giving the video a like, subscribing to the channel, and leaving your comments down below. Now on to our first strategic layer, weapon loadouts, picking your poison. Noting that you actually cannot pick poison as a weapon in Drone Sector, but there are several options of weapon types to choose from, and they each have their strengths and weaknesses. Your 40mm autocannons have a much faster rate of fire with various fragmentation spreads, but you'll run through them faster if you just hold down the trigger, whereas your 120mm GAU 53 cannons are significantly slower with much lower ammo capacity, but have a large range of fragmentation. There are cluster grenades for dealing with large groups of soldiers, cluster mines to divert the enemy away from certain areas, laser guided rockets for tackling armored vehicles, and, my favorite, the 15mm minigun. Nothing is more pleasing than hearing the brrr of a minigun and then seeing enemy foot soldiers get wrecked. Your loadout does matter even in this early play testing, and with 5 slots to work with, you have plenty of combinations to figure out the best for the mission. In the night mission currently in the build, there were tons of armored vehicles, and I learned really quick how fast 30 rockets can get used up, and then how far ahead you need to lead your 40mm autocannon sabots to hit armored vehicles as they're moving. No doubt in the future there will be some parameters that'll help you determine what loadouts are best suited for what mission, and again, I must state that this is the early play testing in that area. As the game develops though, you'll be able to research new tech for upgrades and new weapons, but we'll get to that in a minute. The next layer to consider are your allied troops, the objective winners. Unlike in other games where you are just the eye in the sky, Drone Sector has you actually in control of the troops on the ground, which is a great move on Icosphere's part. Rather than force the player to cater to the auto movements of an AI, they have actual control and can tell their squad when to move, where to move, and more importantly, when to stop. These troops are essential to your success in Drone Sector, as they are the ones that will take the objectives, or blow them up, or gather resources. If they all die, you lose the mission. What's unclear right now is what the consequences are, if any, for losing men in the field. Does it take longer to snag objectives with less men? Do we get less resources? Is there a score modifier that is higher the more men who make it through a mission? In my opinion, these are crucial to implement well in the game, as it encourages the player to make sure that their squad survives. Thankfully, the troops at my command during my time playing have been highly competent and very well trained, and can put up a serious fight when things turn south. And sometimes you just have to let the guys on the ground have their own fun, am I right? The last strategic layer is of course objectives and progression, the tensions of the mission. Drone Sector adds a very simple but great level of tension with any mission: limited fuel. You are not an omnipotent unlimited fuel gunship here, and that leaves very little time for twiddling your thumbs or waiting for things to pass before engaging. Right now, I think fuel runs down 1 per second, which works well if so, as it gives you a convenient clock to work against. But in any case, you need to think quick on your feet, know when and how to engage, and be decisive with this one, and I love it. The objectives themselves are boiled down to 3 main ones that I've seen so far: capture, destroy, and rare metals. One of the really cool aspects of the game is that it seems to randomly switch up where these objectives are, meaning that the same mission will look different when you play it again. I'm always a fan of switching things up for replayability purposes, so this is a small thing, but it's great to see already implemented. All 3 objectives take time to complete as well. Your capture objectives require soldiers on site and to remain on site until captured. You can assist your troops in the destroy objectives, as it does have a large shield around it, and your rare medals are more like bonus objectives that can help you back home. And this leads to progression, in an aspect that's not currently in the game at the moment. There are plans to implement a mission-to-mission progression system, as can be seen in the work in progress resources in the top UI, and the research and engineering tabs that aren't clickable yet. What this entails in full, I cannot say, but the Steam page mentions upgrades to your gunship, squads, and weapons with a hint towards actual ammo production, which adds another layer of strategy to the mix, eh? With those key points out of the way, what are my thoughts on the game? Well, to put it bluntly, it is absolutely amazing, even in this early stage. The game is already very well crafted. The AI, for the most part, is very competent in its movements, with smart reactions to my attacks and scattering when things get too hot. Gameplay is smooth as butter right now, and optimization seems to be working well. Controls are easy to grasp, and being able to see the battlefield from zoomed way up high or zoomed in down low has been a great feature. And the gameplay is just flat out fun as heck. Laying down some heavy minigun fire on a group of soldiers and seeing and hearing the red skulls tick on screen is such a solid tactile way to let the player know they got the kill, and it's always a blast, literally, to see armored vehicles get wrecked by a rocket that you yourself guided. There are currently 2 missions in the game, a smaller daytime mission and a much larger nighttime mission, and both are such a good time. I'm a big fan of night vision and thermal, and the game does a great job representing those clearly on top of everything else. I'm pretty dang excited to see what's to come, especially with progression, as I think that will be a large off-mission aspect that will keep players in. And if given the chance, I'll definitely show it off in a future video. And with that, another huge shout out to Icosphere for allowing me to showcase the game on the channel. This is a great game, and I highly recommend giving it a wish list to help boost it on Steam so it shows up to more people on that platform. And if you liked what you saw and want to help boost this video to the YouTube algorithm, you can do so by giving the video a like, subscribing to the channel, and letting me know what you think in the comments section below. You can look forward to a quick gameplay focused video on both missions in the very near future so you can see the game in action. So stay tuned on the channel. This is Havoc, thank you so much for watching, and I am out of here.